Ready? These are my notes and my questions. So my name's Chris Brock, and the title of my speech is A Cosmic Mystery Unlocked. Over 1 billion years ago, far, far deep in the universe, two black holes collided with each other and created such a colossal explosion that it left physical ripples in the fabric of space itself. A substantial scientific discovery was made just a couple months ago that scientists had found evidence of gravitational waves from this explosion. Made by using the LIGO machine, which stands for Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, they were able to perceive these gravitational waves in more ways than just being able to see them. They were also able to hear them. And these gravitational waves could unlock many different events that we couldn't even know have happened in the universe. So gravity waves can only be detected by this LIGO machine. The LIGO captured these waves just days after coming up from a 5-year maintenance plan. For 8 years, from 2010 to 2012, LIGO didn't capture a single piece of evidence for gravitational waves. And then after the 5 years of maintenance, 3 days later, evidence of gravitational waves erupted. Amina Khan, who is a writer for the LA Times, explains how this LIGO system works in her article. She says that there are two L-shaped structures that are 2.5 miles long, far, far away on different parts of the country. They each will shoot a beam of light at each other and measure how long it takes for the light to reflect back to the original detector. If the two beams of light do not reflect back at the exact same time, it means that gravitational waves have stretched or squeezed the beam of light, causing the time it needs to travel to change. So this machine, this fancy, expensive machine, allows us to change how we observe the universe. In the past, we've always relied on light waves to see things in the universe. However, now we can rely on sound. Gabriela Gonzalez, a LIGO spokesperson, says, quote, "We can hear gravitational waves. We can hear the universe," end quote. These ripples of sound were picked up by 2 different detectors, one in Washington and one in Louisiana, at the exact same time. With all these new and exciting breakthroughs in science, you can only expect there to be even more in the future. Scientists are confident that countless more events will be discovered using this tool. Mark Kamionkowski, who's an astrophysicist at Johns Hopkins University, guesses that there are hundreds or thousands of more catastrophic events that have happened in the universe that we don't even know about that can be discovered thanks to this new discovery of gravitational waves. Fiona Harrison, who is the chair of Caltech's Division of Physics, agrees that there are probably events we haven't even dreamed of before that we will be discovering. With the success in astrophysics field, it's hard not to look forward to the future. As I've mentioned, this LIGO machine is invented to detect gravitational waves. With these gravitational waves, we don't have to rely on just light waves anymore to see what's going on in our universe, but we can actually hear what's going on in our universe. And with this new breakthrough, we can expect to see many more things come in the future for science. With this new discovery, it's hard to predict what the future will hold and just how far this machine will take us. For my questions, the first one is, for those who are not interested in this kind of field or science in general, does the discovery of the proof of gravitational waves kind of pique any interest for you or make you maybe want to look into it a little more?
I think it's super cool. I would never think to Google stuff like that. But now that I hear about it, it makes you want to look more, hear more about it, see if there's more scientific evidence, what they're planning on doing next kind of deal, and what it all means, when things change, the polls and everything. So I think it's super cool.
Definitely. Do you think that with this new discovery that the scientists were right, that we will in fact make hundreds of new discoveries just based off of this one? Do you think that's a possibility?
I mean, it's kind of far-fetched, but then again, it's not, because as soon as they tuned it up, they got a lot more like differences. So I feel like once they look into the evidence, a lot of things could factor off those gravitational pulls and affect the Earth, affect different things about it. It just depends on like how much they break it down into like different like kind of fields, I guess.
For sure.
Well, and I think that they know something's there, and they know like if they make one little change, like that happened. So what could happen if they maybe make other changes or like look into other things? You never know like what you could discover, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Cliche and everything.
My last question is, I mentioned that you can actually hear these gravitational waves. What do you think that they might sound like if you could take a listen to them? I like to think that they sound like ripples of water, just kind of like, like you'd hear out if you're fishing out on a lake and there's just kind of like the ripple under the boat and water splashing up onto the boat. That's what I like to think of it as. But does anyone else have any ideas what it might sound like?
I actually pictured the sound you hear when you put the seashell up to your ear. That's it.
Okay, yeah, definitely. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Cool. Well, thanks guys for listening.